If I just ran a little faster, I'd have been there.
Mom.
If I'd been there, maybe I could have stopped it.
Who would I be without you? And I love you, random citizen.
Flash. I gotta say, I don't think they always get his character right. He should be one of the most powerful heroes out there, but somehow he keeps getting beat by villains who aren't even speedsters, and we definitely don't like that. So, let's see how to treat a Godspeed superhero properly. So, get this. The Flash has all these insane powers that should make him unbeatable, right? Like, he can see the world in slow-mo, break the speed of light, time travel, the whole deal. But then, in the show or comics, we see him losing to villains that don't even make sense. Captain Cold is just a regular dude with a freeze ray gun. Gorilla Grodd is just a telepathic gorilla, which is cool, but he shouldn't really stand a chance against the speedster. It just feels like lazy writing to me, where they hype up the Flash's abilities but then depower him just for cheap drama. Like, pick a lane. Either commit to him being the most OP hero ever and have the villains rise to his level, or tone down his speed so the fights feel more balanced. Seeing Flash struggle against C-list villains when he should realistically crush them in microseconds just takes me out of it. As a fan, I just want my boy Flash to be written properly and get the wins he deserves, you know? The Flash writers can't seem to make up their minds on how powerful to make him. He's doing these epic slow motion scenes where he's moving faster than any eye can see, but then, in the next episode, he's struggling against some random villain with a freeze ray or whatever. Make it make sense. Either go all in on Flash being this unstoppable speed god, or dial back his abilities to a more street level fast guy. Honestly, they should take some notes from Metroman in Megamind.
Alright, put your hands in the air.
He fully leaned into the overpowered super speedster role, and it worked. Of course, being a parody character helped, but still, Metroman embraced his speed powers instead of getting randomly depowered anytime a new villain showed up. That's how you write a truly awesome and consistent speedster, in my book. The Flash writers could learn a thing or two from a goofy Will Ferrell cartoon. In Megamind, they established that Metroman, with his incredible speed powers, is just entertaining Megamind, like a cat playing with a mouse, and that epic scene where Metroman contemplates his entire life in a nanosecond, such a flex shows what a true speed god can do.
I tried to get my mind off how I was feeling, but I just felt stuck. I began to realize, despite all my powers, each and every citizen of Metro had something I didn't. A choice.
The Flash writers should take notes instead of random villain of the week episodes. Imagine if Reverse Flash noticed Flash getting cocky and lazy, so he decides to manipulate Flash into training even harder and pushing his limits. Now, that would be an interesting storyline. It dives into themes of power and responsibility, rather than just depowering Flash for cheap drama. I'd love to see a plot where Flash has to regain discipline and focus to reach his full potential. Really explore what it means to wield his insane yet dangerous speed powers. The Megamind approach to embracing the speed god fantasy could inspire way better Flash stories, in my opinion. They just need to commit to not downplaying his abilities when it's convenient. On the other side of the spectrum, you've got Dash from The Incredibles. Now, he's fast for sure, but within more realistic limits. The movie sets him at around 200 miles per hour top speed. That's plenty quick to be useful and kick butt, but not so overpowered that enemies stand no chance. Honestly, most speedster characters should follow Dash's example. You can still tell great stories with super speed powers that are fast but not ludicrously fast. The story just needs to be crafted to make engagements tailored to those speed levels. Dash gets these badass action scenes that feel believable with his established abilities. He's like the sweet spot between Flash's inconsistency and Metroman's parody levels. I'm not saying Dash should be the exact template, but his grounded take on super speed really works. The writers strike a nice balance that keeps you invested without asking to suspend disbelief too much. More super speed stories should aim for that Dash balance. Red Rush in Invincible is such a letdown. They hype him up to be this unstoppable speedster, but then make him way too fast for any villain to realistically challenge. So their solution is just to have him conveniently not use his speed when he needs it the most. It's so contrived and lazy. If you establish a character that's overpowered, you need to come up with smarter ways to generate conflict than just having them make dumb mistakes or forget their abilities. Red Rush comes across as inept rather than intriguing. It's definitely a lesson on how not to write speedsters. Alright, for any writers out there, here are my personal tips for crafting great speedster characters. First, you gotta set ground rules early. Define exactly how fast they can move and what they can do. Are we talking dash levels or more of a Metroman god tier speed? That will shape everything else. Second, build threats that make sense based on those speed levels. A villain for Metroman needs some reality bending powers or something, way more than a freeze ray, but something in Dash's speed range can work with more grounded tech and abilities. Thirdly, really dive into how super speed would affect someone psychologically. Do they perceive time differently than others? Does that isolate them or change their relationships? Maybe they struggle to relate to people moving at normal speed, or they have trouble slowing down enough to function in day-to-day life. There's good character drama to mine there. Fourth, give them unique training challenges too. I love exploring storylines where a speedster gets overconfident and sloppy, forcing them to relearn focus and discipline. Those limitations and weak spots make them more relatable. And fifth, please, no random depowering just to pad out a fight scene. If a speedster's struggling, make it feel earned based on established lore and their current mindset. Don't undermine their abilities just for cheap tension. Stay consistent with the powers you've set up. And finally, sixth, as a fan, I love seeing speeders really cut loose and show off what they can do, but at the same time, too much power can make them seem invincible, which gets boring quickly. So, you gotta find that sweet spot, like they did with Dash. Give us those jaw-dropping hyper-fast action moments that play to the fantasy. But ground it in vulnerabilities and limits that feel believable for the character. Audiences will buy into someone like Dash, whose powers are amazing yet still constrained. He's badass while also facing challenges suited to his speed. Basically, lean into the wish fulfillment of super speed, but restrain it enough to keep tension. Don't make your speedster overpowered to the point where they have an answer for everything. Give them an Achilles heel. Make them earn their wins through wit and skill, not just tapping into endless speed reserves. Do it right, and audiences will stay invested long term, caring about your speedster as a complex character. Follow tips like these and you can go beyond generic speedster stories.